My name is Amy Dee Thomson. I am an intuitive mentor, Tantrika and Podcaster, and I focus on sexual empowerment for women as a holistic modality of teaching body, mind, soul, and sex. As a teenager growing up in New Zealand, I found that sex education was very limited. It was heavily focused on the physical, and it missed the very crucial aspects of spiritual, mental, and emotional well-being when it comes to the sexual experience. I find the effects that come from poor sexual education can be a very limited view of what sex is, and this can manifest into unconscious and unintentional sexual abuse and sexual disassociation, sexual disconnect from the heart center, and it has many other repercussions which can manifest into mental health issues and an imbalance of the self, as well as imbalanced sexual decisions. I find that Kiwis are very good at making light of the hard aspects of life, including sex, with the mindset of she'll be right. But we won't be all right if we keep having sex from this way. I know from my own personal experience that having sex from a disconnected space was not all right for me. It caused a lot of pain and depression and trauma that I had to work through, and I believe that I'm not the only one, especially as a woman growing up in New Zealand. The rape culture and porn culture and ghosting and different things like that can cause so much mental imbalance, and I do believe that it's heavily connected to how we educate our youth, educate our children, educate our teenagers, but also educate ourselves. And when we can really connect to a more holistic idea of sexuality, we can start to find more balance within ourselves and more balance in the sexual collective, so we can teach our youth a better way of experiencing sex, a healthier way of experiencing sex. So ways we can start to move into a healthier dynamic with sex education. We can educate ourselves as the first step. I am a big advocate for therapy or counselling if you have had sexual trauma or even sexual imbalance that isn't necessarily labelled as rape or abuse. Even with sexually imbalanced scenarios, it's great to get some therapy to understand yourself better. You can also, there's plenty of books out there, so picking up a book, it's lifting the stigma that it's not something dirty, that you shouldn't be learning about it, because we should be learning about sexuality. So working with somebody like myself in discovering and embodying more of your soul-centered sexuality could be helpful to your own journey and to how you approach sexuality with your kids or your youth, if that is applicable to you. And there's many other amazing resources online, tantric teachers or sexual empowerment teachers. You can also listen to my podcast, which is called the Cosmic Pleasure Podcast. You can find it on any of your standard podcasting apps, and it just helps you to understand how sex affects us from a holistic standpoint and how life and sex are so deeply intertwined with one another. So we can lift the stigma by just being brave enough to have the conversations around sexuality, being brave enough to talk to our partner authentically about not just what turns us on, but what turns us off and why, or what's come up during the sexual experience, having a debrief after you've had sex. When you lift the stigma from your own relationship, you can easier have these conversations with your friends, with your family, if it's comfortable for you. When we become more confident and comfortable in our own bedrooms, then we can easier have these conversations out of the bedroom. It's almost trying to see that sex does not have to be taboo. It is safe for us to have these conversations now. It wasn't in the past, and that might come with a privileged perspective, because I know in many family dynamics and throughout the world it is not safe to have these conversations. But if this is you, remembering that it is safe to have these conversations around sexuality, and when you are brave enough to let your guard down and speak authentically around sex and your sexual experience, you will see how people just relax with you. They feel safe enough to have these conversations, and when you are connecting with other people who are having similar or their own troubles or experiences, you will find you also begin to relax, and you also feel so much gratitude for the authenticity that you can share in this realm of work. And if you want to work with me or to have a conversation about what I do and my message mission, you can find me on social media or on my website. And I would be more than happy to support you on your journey of sexual and spiritual development, and coming home to yourself, body, mind, soul, and sex.